We'll talk about it. Most of it, the dolls are labeled by year, how old they are, which means absolutely nothing in the child passenger safety technician world. We go by weight and height. So, okay, they're all labeled, right? Every one of these seats has a label on it. It's required by federal motor vehicle safety standard. So, does that fit your child? Who buys the seat? Or a school bus?
We do.
School district does, yep. If you're letting the parents bring a child seat onto your school bus, probably ought to discontinue that practice. You don't know. You don't know. Parents go to garage sales. They do all kinds of strange things with seats, and we don't know what those seats have been through. If that seat's been in a crash and has damage to it that we can't see, now you've taken on that responsibility, that liability. Always buy your own seats. Now, will that child seat fit on that bus? Well, there's all kinds of measurements. Oh, I thought that was the next slide. My bad. We'll talk about it in a minute. So, these, you'll see, we'll talk about all these and how they measure, how you measure a child to put them in those seats. So, properly, you know, can you put a conventional CRS in a school bus? Yes. It's got to have a seat belt, it's got to have a reinforced school bus seat. So that's what I was talking about before, that Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Center state seat. On the school bus seat, you can't just drill any seat, because if you go back just a few years, not very far, as a matter of fact, some manufacturers are still doing it. The Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard for putting seat belts on the school bus seat are not being met by that seat because it didn't have it didn't have seat belts on it. So it's not heavy enough. It's not built to withstand the pressure of holding a seat belt. So it must fit in the school bus seat. That's the problem with the conventionals. Most of the forward-facing ones are fine. It's the rear-facing ones that really become a problem. So you've got to know. So if you've installed one of those rear-facing seats, you know that there's a bubble in there. You've got to get that level, right? You've got to get it the right level. If for some reason you have to get on top of that thing and push it, and it's hitting the seat in front, it doesn't fit between the two seats, and you're doing damage to the seat in front of you, it won't fit. You get another seat. They make them. I've got a list of about 2 or 3 of them in the office that I can tell you about that will fit. The other thing you can do is just go to Walmart or wherever you're going to buy the seat and go, can I just borrow some seats for a minute? I need to find out which one fits in my school bus. And just take them out there and see if they fit. Make them level and see if they fit. That's what most of the time we do. Okay, those are conventional seats on a school bus that has seat belts on them. Like I said, first 3 rows, whatever you're doing, that's fine. So, now, we're into cam wraps. These are school bus specific seats. These are the seats that fit on a school bus that have no seat belts. So, I have no seat belts on my school bus. That's what this is about. Cam wrap system. What is a cam wrap? It wraps around the seat back. So you'll see these up here, which is my squirrel wheels. 2 different kinds. The one on the left and on your right is the Bessie, and the one on your left is the Star seat. That's the way they look from behind when they're installed. And if you'll notice, these both need to be tightened up. They've loosened up over the years, but how the indention is in the seat means it's tight enough. If you push that foam down, you tighten it. You should not be able to, and I can move that just a little bit. You shouldn't be able to slide. So, the vests do the same thing. We'll talk about the vests here in a little bit. But anyway, that's the way those seats fit. They wrap around the seat back. So, now, what is that doing to the seat back? Just like we talked about before, only certain seats you can put seat belts on. These are designed to go on any school bus seat. So from back 30 years ago, when they were building these seats, these are designed to work. So where's all the pressure in a crash? On the seat back. Instead of the base, you're transferring all that weight into the system that is based on that cam wrap. So, what happens? the seat directly behind a cam wrap system cannot have an unrestrained occupant. It cannot have an unrestrained occupant line. You understand why? Talked about it a whole bunch already today. I can go back to that slide again, but that seat back
is different.
is not designed to take a double hit. So basically, now the occupant behind is striking the seat back, and this occupant is also pulling on the seat back. So now that seat back is getting twice as much pressure in a crash. So those seats are not designed to do that. So you cannot leave somebody behind a cam wrap system that is unrestrained. So it always freaks people out. And the warning's right on the labels of any cam wrap system. They're required by federal motor vehicle safety standards to have that warning label on there. And we set a little diagram there just to show you that, and it usually freaks people out. They're like, we've been doing this wrong for how long? And now we got to get a bigger bus. Because they've lost basically, you know, most school buses have been on the size of the kid, they've lost 2 seats, but maybe 3 seating positions. But if you're doing this, now you've got this one that's got to be blank too. So if you're doing 4 of them up front, and then you got to leave one empty and then go back. So remember, this is school buses that have no seatbelts on them. If you have seatbelts, they've got to wear them to be behind that child. So just because it's equipped with seatbelts doesn't mean you're exempt this. Okay. When you were doing the installation, we're going to talk about the installation a little bit. Just like anything else that you do, you can't twist the straps. Make sure they're all secure and they don't slip and slide. So basically, when you put one of these on a school bus seat, this should become just like part of the school bus seat. You are winching it down tight so that it doesn't move. Everybody know how to open up the seat?
No. Nope.
I'm not going to do that. No, that was the heavy one. If you can see that, right there. That releases the seat so it goes, so you can pull it up. Okay. You need to be able to do that because when you go to put the cam wrap on, you've got to get it through that seat bite. When we talk about the seat bite, it's where the 2 seats meet, right? So right there, you've got to get it through there. So to do that, the easiest way to do that, and most of these seats, you'll see these seats when we open them up, is that there's a bar, a metal bar that runs down through there that you cannot just stick it through. You've got to actually have the seat up and go around the metal bar to get it through. So, okay. Does anybody see where I
Does the old buses have that?
Yes.
It's over here, Dennis.
Right
You put it on that middle.
Oh, there it is. It's on the star seat. Mixing in with the straps. Okay. What'd you say, Dan?
Does the older
Yeah.
buses have that?
Yeah, they've been putting that on there that's the different styles. They've all had them for years. You've got to be able to get to that seat frame. So, every one of your seats on your school bus open up like that. I didn't realize you guys didn't know that. That's kind of cool. Oh, well, by the way, don't judge me for the way I throw my dolls around. Yep. So when you see that, when I go stick my hand through here, there's a bar, and you cannot get through there. It's all solid. So you have to actually go around the frame when you wrap them.
I know.
But now these seats are, not all seats look like that. You have to understand that these 2 seats are extra reinforced because they're seatbelt seats.
And most of ours are they're in the front part, and the whole thing slips off, the whole seat lifts off.
Yeah, the whole base comes completely off of it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
I
fun.
haven't seen any of ours that flip like that. Ours, all the whole seat comes off.
Really?
Yeah, you got
Didn't
4
you
of
just
those.
get some new Bluebirds?
We did, I haven't pulled the seats off of those, so I don't know.
You might look, because they're IMMI seats now. Bluebird stopped making their own seats and contracted with
Oh, yeah.
IMMI.
Yeah.
So it's the same seat that's on there now, and it probably works just like this. Whether it's got seat belts or not, I don't know, but they should have that hinge seat. The Bluebird, when they were making their seats, evidently, I've seen those like that, what you're saying, where the whole seat bottom comes off. It's fine, you know, it's just kind of a pain.
Yeah.
Okay.
The concept's the same, right, the bar and everything.
Exactly, it's all the same, it's just that there's no hinge.
That's way better.
You don't have to stumble
Take the
over
whole thing off.
Yeah, you don't have to stumble over the seat, and where do I put it while I'm working on it? So, anyway, I'm glad you learned something today, that's awesome. Okay, so let's talk about the different kinds of cam wraps and different kinds of systems. So you'll notice I've got a bunch of stuff up here. The 5-point harness system. Oh, this is not a good slide for that, my bad. But anyway, we're going to talk about it. The one on the right, obviously, is the best. That is the best. It's a different system, and we'll talk about them in a minute. These others are 5 points. This one in the middle is a 5-point. We're going to talk about these first, because they're the most common in the world of child restraints on school buses. The one on the far left, I've got an example of it down on the end. That works with an existing lap belt. So if you'll see, you can see there's loops down here that you actually run a lap belt through. And the reason these are cool is because they can get the weight rating way up on these. So you can get, they make some of these that go up to like 300 pounds. So they got some pretty serious. When you get into special needs kids that need that extra support and be held up and stuff, and they get really big when they get older, it's a real good system. But you've got to have seat belts in your bus to do that. They make them as high as 168 pounds in the vest without needing an extra seat belt. So, star seat. This is the one most everybody sees all the time. Far left, this one here is an actual star seat. That is the one that you got there on the slide. It goes from 25 pounds to 65 pounds. Like I said, we deal with weight and height. Up to 52 inches. So, the Star Plus is the next one right here. It's the second generation. They made it so it went up to 90 pounds. The other thing that comes with the Star Plus is you'll see that they've got a torso belt. It has nothing to do with crash testing, it's just to help them hold them up if they got some kind of special need. This isn't the special needs seat though. The Superstar, this is the latest generation, this one right here. The seat base is a little smaller. It also doesn't have the dips for the butt cheeks. I don't know how else to say it, guys. I don't want to be rude, but it doesn't have the dips for the cheeks. So it's, I don't know if you call it more comfortable, but at least it's not determining the size of the child's derriere, right? Because you put in here, there's a bump in the middle, there's indentions for the cheeks. This one doesn't have that, and it's got a little more padding, not a lot, but a little bit. So, and it goes up to 90 pounds also. So these two go to 90, that one only goes to 65, and Superstar is what a lot of people are buying now. Because it is a narrower base, so when you go to put them in a school bus, you can actually put 3 of them pretty easily. on a 39.
Is there a reason we would ever look at buying the other two then? Right.
They're price would be the only reason. I mean, you can get the regular Star seat for about 200, and I think the Superstar is about 270, something like that, depending on who you buy from. So yeah, they're not cheap. They spend a lot of money crash testing these things. And then I've got an example of the the Special Needs Star. It goes up to 105 pounds. Also has the head excursion, basically just to keep them from bouncing their head around. And it also comes with a full postural wrap around. And you can come help. I appreciate it. So, and they go up to 52 inches tall. So that's the Star Special Needs. Now, the Bessie ProTech, they're up to, I think, ProTech 4? I want to say 4. I can't remember. I should know that better than I do. But anyway, the ProTech series, you'll notice they're built a little bit different. Once again, it's easy to get 3 of them on a seat if you need to. They're right here. They're about the same width as that Superstar. They don't have the adjustable, so when you look at the way it adjusts, it's just going through the shoulder harnesses. They just go through slots. And one of those 3 slots usually catches most of the kids. Whereas with the Star seat, you have a slider that adjusts where the height is. So you gotta remember when you put these kids in these seats that they're forward facing. So the belt, where it comes across the tops of the shoulders, has to be above the shoulders or equal to. It can't be below the shoulders. If for some reason you're in that top strap, clear up here top like this, and the shoulders are up above, where it comes out, that child is too big for that seat and they need to go to a regular car seat, or a regular seat belt. And then these slides, same thing. If you end up with a child that's clear up that high, yeah, they need to be in a different seat. Bessie Protect, that's just an example of what it looks like in the bus being used. They come up to 90 pounds and 57 inches. So all their Protect, the Protect 4 goes to 90 pounds and up to 57 inches. So you get a little more height out of them than you do the Star. Star was 52 inches. Bessie Pro is 57. So like I said, they've all been crash tested. They all do a good job. Okay, so I threw this one in there and we'll come back to it again. The Safe Journey is a vest. And Easy On and Bessie both make vests that are how do I want to say this? Yeah, basically, Easy On actually would say Houdini proof. I mean, they actually say that at the shows when you go up and talk to them. This vest is Houdini proof, right? So Bessie answered that same with the Safe Journey. So this bad boy, if you notice, the upper clips are on the seat back. So instead of being clipped here, they go around and come back and clip in the back of the seat. So there's no way that child can reach them to unclip them. And then if you get them down in the seat bite, the clips, and I'll show you up here, their clips have an O-ring now that you can push into the clip that makes it wide enough that you can't push it. So it is locked in place. Now, to unlock it, you have to slide the ring up into the loop, and we'll show you how to do that.
Do the seats behind, do the seats when those are installed have to be empty as well?
Yes, yes. Anything that uses that cam wrap system, that's a good question. Vests or child securements of any kind, that has to be blank behind it. So, anytime we wrap that seat back, the seat has to be back. Now, if you've got seat belts, it's not applicable, right? So you're not using on this seat. If you have an integrated seat here, and you put the child in that one, you had the one next to him sitting in the seat belt, that behind doesn't matter. It's not a cam wrap system. So, you notice all the cam wraps have under the seat, so it's wrapping around the seat base too. We don't want them moving. We don't want them moving forward or back. So they've got a belt on the bottom as well as on the one that wraps around the back. So there's all the terminology of what you're going to be working with: harness adjusters, under cushion strap, shoulder height adjustment, retainer clip. Okay, so when you put a child in the seat, and we're talking about the retainer clip, right? It's this clip right here. Some people call them chest clips. Where is that supposed to be on a child? You've had this class before.
First student.
Yeah, oh yeah, your first student. I had one yesterday, it was first student. So, did you hear the answer?
No.
Armpit level, right?
I got that.
It just rolls out of my mouth sometimes, and I apologize, because I'm just a little country boy and I don't care. So, between the nipples and the armpit, right? And that, it just freaks people out that you say the word nipples in front of them now. It's like, I think, you know, God gave us all nipples. I don't know why this is a problem. I mean, you ever milk cows? Anyway, school bus only. Parts. Here's the Superstar sitting in here. The same kind of, it's just that the shoulder height adjusters are adjustable instead of slots. It's about the only difference in the way we talk about it. And you'll notice that the Star has 3 straps and the Bessie only has 1. So when you look at them, You can't get them confused because they've color coded them. So the one in the middle is gray. And so you hook it to the gray one that's coming out the back and go, so gray to gray, black to black. So, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we come to evacuations here in a minute. Always have to have that strap underneath fastened, like I said, keeps that seat from moving forward or going side to side. And that's not, you know, those aren't really all that beefy. It's just securement. It's not, it doesn't have a lot to do when it crashes. There's the instructions. The reason I put this in here is when all else fails, read the owner's manual. Every one of these seats comes with an owner's manual. Your bus actually has an owner's manual. I know you guys probably won't see them, but there's an owner's manual, and they will tell you about some of these things. This seat has latch. Are anybody familiar with latch? So they're metal rings that are buried down here in the seat bite that you can take a car seat and clip it in there. Basically, in real simple layman's terms, that's what you're doing, you're clipping it in there. The seats are designed with latch, and some of them are and some of them aren't. You can use latch on a school bus if you've got a conventional car seat. But just be aware that the weight limit on most of these latches is 65 pounds. So that includes the seat. So if you've got a child that weighs 50 pounds or 60 pounds, you're probably over because the seat weighs something too. So, and it's not a problem, you can just use seat belts after that, but they like them because they're convenient, they're easy to do. Let's go to vests. So we're going to talk about vests now. I know I bounced into that, saw that safe journey there. I'm not sure how that slide got out of place. But anyway, we're going to talk about vests. Bessie and Easy On are the only two manufacturers that manufacture. I told you those, but we didn't really talk about them much. Do I come back to them? Maybe not. Did I show, was this slide, did we show the slide with all three manufacturers? No, that's the one that went out of place. This is the third one on the 5-point system. And it's called a CE White Portable Child Restraint Seat, PCR. So CE White PCR. These are the only ones of all three. So we got Star, manufacturer, IMMI, Bessie, and then CE White. Those are the only three that do the 5-point system, the cam wrap system, school bus specific. That's the only one, the CE White's the only one that has no expiration date. It has no expiration date. The other two both have expiration dates. So, what's that mean? Well, most of the time it's not bought very often because it makes it more expensive. I don't know. And the other thing that's supposed to be really cool about this thing, it folds like a suitcase. Isn't that exciting? You know what? When you go to install it, the strap that you throw over your shoulder to carry it with is in a flipping way. You can't take it off. It's got an adjustment, but you can't take it off. It's bolted onto the seat. So I don't know why they put it on there, so you can carry it over your shoulder. I guess if you're carrying it out to the bus every morning, but man, with cam wrap systems, you really don't want to be putting these in the bus every day. And we'll talk about more when we get to the vest, but you don't want to be doing this every day. Most of the time it's going to be in the bus, right? So vests. Bessie and Easy On are the only two that make vests. They're the only two manufacturers, and I've got both of them over there at the end. The vests are on the very end of that table. Students' waist size. If you'll notice, Bessie, when you go to order it, when you go to order the vest, it does not say this small. Small, medium, or large anymore. It gives you a range of waist size. This one is 25-inch vest. It works on something on the cross strap and just, you got to measure all this stuff to get the vest done correctly. 22 inches to 28 inches. So this is the 25-inch. If you notice, on the back, there are 3 zippers. So you can grow with the child, right? So depending on the size of the child, you want it to fit snug, and every time you zip it up, you can adjust down. So, both Easy On and Bessie have those features. Believe it or not, I'm not really sure how this happened, but kids have figured out how to undo the zippers. I don't know how you get back in there. I don't know about you, but I can't reach them on my back.
But some are ambidextrous.
Yeah, they really are. So Bessie has come up with, they've got a lock on the zipper now. I don't know if this one has it yet or not. It's not a lock, but it's a, yeah, this one doesn't have it. The newer version does have it, where it clips into a loop on the vest. It's just simple clip, and all it does is clip. So it makes it a lot more difficult for you to get out of it. But anyway, the maximum sizes, 22 inches up to 51 inches. That's a big waist. 51 inches is a big waist. And 25 to 168 pounds. Easy On, same thing. They go from 18, so they got a little smaller waist, up to a 43-inch waist, not quite as large for the maximum. And then anywhere from 31 to 168 pounds. So the weight, you have to get a little higher on the Easy On vest. Just know that you can get these vests in higher weights if you've got that special needs kid or something that needs a bigger weight limit, but you have to use them in conjunction with the seatbelt system. So there's the Easy On, there's the Bessie. So there's the Bessie. So I'm just going to talk about it. The vest, you buy this stuff, right? The vest goes with the child. The driver should not be dealing with putting this vest on the child. The driver's got 4 places to cook it, pardon me, already when the child sits in the seat. That's plenty. So, mom, dad, guardian, teacher, whatever the case may be, is supposed to be putting these on these kids. So, I can tell stories on Kelly. She's good. She knows she screwed up. I went and did this class to Kansas Central speaking. And they said, well, why are you here? Our preschool bus, one of our preschool buses is sitting out here in the parking lot. Why don't you come look at it? So, I get out there, and what I'm expecting to see is a bunch of these, right? Because they said they only use vests. They don't use the star seats, they only use vests, which is great. Instead, what I get is all of these, and they use Easy On. The Easy On vests are hanging on the camera. So instead of looking like this, they got vests hanging on. Every seat in this bus, it was a full-size 53-passenger bus. I said, okay, how are your drivers getting these children secured every morning? The kids get on and they run they just climb into them. Who's zipping up the back? We have to zip up the back. I said, you just sat through my class. Yeah. You have done nothing except giving them something to hang on. Literally, if you're in a crash, you're going to cut their heads off. I mean, it's ridiculous. Why would you do this? I shouldn't use that graphic term, I'm sorry. They're going to choke, okay? You're going to do damage to a trachea, whatever. So then I said, okay, so assigned seats? Well, yeah. I said, so every one of these vests is a different size. Oh, no, we buy all mediums. Oh, not only not putting them on right, and they don't fit the kids. Okay, I said, Kelly, I'm not telling you how to run your business, but man, you need to get these off of this bus. The vests go with the kids. Oh, we can never keep track of them. It's the risk you have to take. They go with the kids. Your driver should have to be able to walk back there and go, clip, 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 and be done. And that's the way the vests work. They're awesome. Like I said, they go higher weights and everything. Vests are a great alternative. We use them a lot in special needs. A lot.
So the vest is not a part of the IEP? It's for each child if they're under?
That's a good question. We get into an IEP question, which is awesome. Be aware that if you've got a bus full of kids and you decide that Johnny needs a vest because Johnny gets out of your seat a lot. And is disruptive to the rest of the bus. That has to go through an IEP.
Okay.
If everybody on your bus is required to have these, it doesn't make any difference if somebody's got an IEP or not. Everybody on the bus has to have these. Now, the IEP can come back and go, oh, Johnny, being confined like that, he's gonna go ballistic, right? So the behavioral assessment says this is a problem, so we're not gonna do that. Well, now you've got a problem because everybody else on the bus does, and now Johnny doesn't, and so there's an issue. So you've got to address each one of those individually. For the most part, what I tell people is if you're going to do vests, and you think you've got an issue with one student, make one of vests.
So the
Come up with an age group, whatever it takes, right?
the district can decide if they want each student in the vest?
Individually decide
Yeah.
on an IEP.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing, the IEP team, and I've had all kinds of questions about crazy requests. And I know for a fact that I had one, and this is exactly what the problem was. They had preschoolers, and they were all in the Bessie Pro-Tech. And the IEP team did not like that for the child, said that they had some issues. So they wrote in the IEP that that particular child had to have a vest. And that's fine, as long as it's in the IEP. And they were like, well, it's singling them out. Well, it is, but the IEP team said so, and they still want them in the general ed bus, so there they are. So you can't do much about that. But yeah, the IEP is gospel. That's what you go by.
Okay.
So, any more questions about that? I mean, we can do a whole special meeting. Okay, like I said, owner's manual, right? Those are pictures from the owner's manual. Installation instructions, like I said, fold that seat up, run that down, get it up the back. They buckle together back here, and it's just a simple buckle. The trick is tighten it down, like I said. This should have an indentation. It should be very significant. Now, you saw those pictures where these come out of the seat bike for the vest. That all is dependent upon the cam wrap rotating on that back seat back. So as you roll it around, they get farther down into the seat bite. You want them as far into the seat bite as you can get them and still be able to hook them into the hook. So depending on the child's waist size, if you got a really small waist, it may look like, and our kids today have no bones, so they're gonna be way down in the seat. So to the point where the hooks are about the only thing you see. You can have a child that's big enough that has a big lead out here too. But the bottom line is you want them as tight, because you want them sucked back into that seat as tight as you can get them. So, and honestly, the tighter you get them, the less likely they are to come loose. By the child taking them loose, they're not gonna come loose, but yeah. So, but the only way you can adjust that, where they sit in the seat bite, is by rotating that cam wrap. So make sure you keep it loose. And this is the problem. That's why you have assigned seats.